Okay, we are live now. Hello, Miss Samantha.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Please, before we start, if you can tell us in the chat where you are joining us from this evening, while we wait for all the participants to join this Zoom session. So please jot into the chat box where you're joining us from. Thank you. Okay, great. I can see people joining us from Accra. Welcome to Wisdom from Accra. From Minette from Accra, welcome to you all. Please keep it coming. Put your names in the chat and tell us where you're joining us from. I can see Isaac, a special needs teacher from Kenya. Welcome and good evening to you. Welcome to all of you joining the training this evening. Welcome to Rakaya from Kumasi. And Deborah, you're welcome. Welcome to Linda from Accra. Good to see you online, Linda. Welcome and good evening to you. We have Omobola from Nigeria. Welcome to you. Keep it coming. We're just waiting for maybe some 5 minutes before we start this evening's session. So as we're waiting, please tell us where you're joining from. Welcome to Diana from Kumasi. Welcome to Barbara from Lashibi. Good to see you online, Barbara. I know there are many, many people who have registered for this evening's session. So we're hoping the majority join before we start at around 6:05. For those who are just joining, please, you're very welcome to this evening's session. We will be starting in about 4 minutes, but while we're waiting, please tell us where you're joining from. You can type in the chat, let us know your name, and let us know where you're joining this session from this evening. We will be starting very soon, just a couple more minutes to make sure we get as many people in as we can. So I see Alexander from and so on. I see Joseph joining from Accra. Welcome to you both. Welcome to Irene from Tema. Welcome to 50 from Takrady. You're most welcome. Adelaide, welcome to this evening's session. Peggy from Accra, welcome to you too. I hope you're all ready for a very insightful and engaging session this evening. So we'll just give it maybe a minute or so more, and then we're ready to go straight into the training for this evening. I see Adam from Tamale. Welcome, Adam. Welcome to Juliet. Some more people in the waiting room. Let's let them in, and then we'll be able to start very soon. Oh, welcome to Esther from the Ashanti region. Okay. I'm sure there will still be some people joining, but we are going to start the session for this evening. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Please, can someone just give me a thumbs up or some emoji so I know that you can hear me well? Okay, great. So welcome to everyone who is online for this session. My name is Samantha Barrett-Aqua, and I'll be moderating this evening's session. So again, welcome to the Africa Dyslexia Organization Online Academy. Thank you so much for joining us. So let me tell you a little bit about ADO, Africa Dyslexia Organization. It is a Pan-African organization working to ensure that individuals with dyslexia and related learning differences are not excluded from education, from employment, or leadership opportunities. Now, our work focuses on early identification, teacher capacity building, research, advocacy, and systems reform. Now, we recognize that teacher confidence and instructional competence are foundational to inclusive education across the continent. Now, today's session focuses on teacher efficacy, one of the strongest research-backed drivers of student achievement, particularly in constrained environments. Now, this session is practical and evidence-informed. Okay, so before we start, I want to take us through a little bit of housekeeping. Now, this session is being recorded and may be used for educational and public dissemination purposes by Africa Dyslexia Organization. Now, because this is a recorded professional session, we require all participants to maintain professional standards if their cameras are on. So that being said, please ensure that you are appropriately dressed, that you're seated upright and not laying down, that you're not eating on camera, that your camera angle is appropriate, so we want to be able to see your face well if you're on camera, and that your background is suitable for a professional setting. If you're unable to maintain a professional camera presence, please keep your camera off. Now at ADO, safeguarding extends to our online spaces. So this means that we expect respectful communication at all times, that there are no inappropriate visuals or gestures. There should be no independent recording of participants and no sharing of private information from the session. There must be professional conduct both in the chat and verbally. Please note that we reserve the right to remove participants who do not adhere to these standards. Okay, and just some reminders about privacy. Please also ensure that no confidential or sensitive information is visible in your background if you're joining from a shared space. Now, you can ask questions in the chat box throughout the session, so you can place your questions there. Our facilitator may answer some as she goes along. There'll be a live Q&A held at the end of the training where all questions should be addressed. Now, we will have sign language interpretation throughout this session. So we have Martin, who will be providing the sign language interpretation during the core training. That's the main session. And then we'll have Josiah, who will provide the sign language interpretation during our Q&A session. Okay, great. So now I would love to introduce our facilitator. So Miss Jacqueline Ward-Brew is an assistant principal, educational consultant, and founder of Abura Kids International Incorporated. With over 15 years of experience in education, she is an instructional leader deeply committed to culturally responsive teaching, early childhood development, and strengthening educational access for underserved communities. Based in the United States and rooted in Ghana, Jacqueline is currently leading the development of a future-focused lab school in Sahun, Ghana, through Abura Kids International. Her work centers on nurturing courage, confidence, and hope in every child. She specializes in culturally responsive teaching, the science of reading, teacher training and curriculum development, and executive function and social emotional learning for young learners. Now, her approach integrates research, instructional precision, and cultural grounding to support teachers in delivering meaningful impact, regardless of resource constraints. I'm very pleased to have her lead today's session. We are very pleased to have her lead today's session. So Jacqueline, you're very welcome. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Samantha. I really appreciate it. I'm very excited to be here, and I can't wait to start the session. Just need Ms. to pull up the presentation for me, so we can begin. Teach powerfully, even with less. So does everybody see the presentation? Just to confirm, give me a thumbs up emoji. Let me know whether or not you see my presentation. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you very much. So the session is called Teach Powerfully, Even with Less, Building Teacher Confidence and Impact in Challenging Classrooms. And like Miss Samantha stated, my name is Jacqueline Ward-Brew, and I'll be the facilitator for today's session. Okay, next, please. Seth, can you turn to the next slide, please? Thank you. Okay, so before we dive into the session, I just want to verify and confirm with everyone on this session that you are already teaching powerfully. The fact that you're an educator, to the other slide, okay, when you are teaching against the odds, your voice, your energy, and your creativity becomes your most powerful resource. As the teacher, the strength in teaching lies within you, not in the external resources in the classroom. I want everyone to be very mindful of that. The power of teaching is within every single educator, not the resources in the class. You are the most powerful resource that your students have. Okay, next, please. So today we have several learning objectives that we're going to go through. The first one is why teacher belief matters. The second objective is teaching powerfully in challenging classrooms. We're going to discuss the realities of teaching. The third objective is individual and collective teacher efficacy. Number 4 is emotional intelligence as a professional skill. Number 5 is practical teacher moves based upon and grounded in courage, confidence, and hope. Number 6, we're going to take our mindset from I can to we can. And the last objective is we're going to reflect and commit to the fact that we know for a fact of teaching resides in every single teacher. Okay, next slide, please. So the realities of teaching. The realities in the classroom is different from what you learned when you were doing your text. Or let's just say in general African context is not enough learning materials, too many students, not enough teacher training. In fact, there are schools in the US that have the similar realities. So these realities are not just constrained into one area or one society, right? Teachers across the world, this can resonate with them, right? But I want you to understand that the fact that you show up to class, that you stay, that you try, that alone is power. That you are faced in the classroom every single day, you show up, you try, you stay. So for that, I am personally thanking every one of you for that, because being an next slide, please. We're going to do this activity where I want everyone to type something in the chat, but please listen to my instructions carefully. In the chat, I want you to answer using one word, but don't hit send until I count down to 3, or I count to 3. So you're going to type in the chat, when you think about teaching in challenging classrooms, what is one word that describes your experience? Type the word in the chat, but don't hit send yet. Everyone type the word in the chat, but don't hit send. Again, when you think about teaching in challenging classrooms, what is one word that describes your experience? So please type in the chat, and I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, you're going to hit send, and we're going to have a waterfall of all of your responses. Okay, so I'm going to give you like 10 seconds to type in, think of your word, type it in, and then we're going to do the waterfall activity. So everyone be okay, you ready? So I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Send. And let's see all of the responses. Oh, so I see frustration, exhaustion. Oh, wow. Knowledge, patience, difficult, stress, challenging, boring, stressful, need support, professionalism. Oh, wow. Fun, awesome, unavailable, exhausting, collaboration, motivating, exhausting, stressful. Wow, these are very, very interesting responses. Challenging, difficult, tiresome, stressful, creative. Let me see, I'm doing a few other ones. Motivating, hectic, hope. Like, I'll end with that, hope, because that's what we're all here for. We're here for hope. And it was very interesting when I read all the different responses. Even though these responses were inputted by different people, we know, or even I know as an educator of 11 years, that there are different times of the day, of the year, where all of these emotions, we have all felt them. And that's okay, because that is the realities of teaching. But the last comment that I read is hope. Hope is pivotal for student success, and all of the different emotions that we go through. Hope is what drives us to go back into the classroom every day and do our best for our students. That was very, very, okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to start with our first objective. Why teacher beliefs matter. Because somebody would say, why is it important that what a teacher believes makes a difference? Teacher belief is the number one indicator of student success. Belief drives behavior. What teachers believe about their impact. Beliefs shape classroom environment and classroom climate. Confident teachers create calmer, more focused, and more motivational or more motivated classrooms. Belief influences student outcomes. When teachers believe growth is possible, students begin to believe it as well. And belief multiplies. Teacher belief spread. Belief is something that I would say, it's exponential. People feed off of that. So if you're a teacher that stands in a classroom and your students know that you believe in them, that alone improves student performance. That causes the students to feel more confident in themselves, because in their mind, my teacher believes in me, so that's going to help me believe in myself. So these are the four main reasons why teacher belief matters. Okay, next slide, please. Teacher impact equation. I created an equation regarding teacher impact. Teacher belief plus action equals growth. Growth multiplied by consistency equals student impact. Student impact multiplied by time leads to impact to the family and the community. So teacher impact is exponential. So just imagine you're a classroom teacher. There's 50 students in your classroom, or even 70. That's overwhelming. But think of it this way. Those are 70 people that I can impact. So I'm working times 70. 70 people who are relying on me to help educate them. And these 70 people will go out into the world or to their community and impact their family, because what they've learned in class, I'm sure they will share with members of their family. and then is shared among the community. Eventually, that impact goes out into the world. So yes, 70 children in your classroom is it? And think of it this way. Those are 70 people you can impact. Okay, so don't look at it as, oh my goodness, I have 70 students in my class. Those are 70 avenues of impact solely based upon you. That to me is powerful. Very, very powerful. And if you've been teaching, let's say, for 10 years, multiply 10 years by the number of students that have been in your class. It's a lot of people. Let's just say you have 50 students in your class over the course of 10 years, right? That's 500 students that you have impacted. Your impact is so far reaching that you may not even reach from you in the classroom. But if you sit backwards, you would see that you were the source of that impact, or you're the source of that success that that student was able to do in this world. So again, always believe and know this to be true. Teachers' impact is exponential. Teachers are the only profession in this world that creates other professions. No profession can say that. We produce doctors. We produce lawyers. We produce other teachers. We produce government workers. We produce every profession in the world. That is why I strongly believe that being a teacher is the most noble and the most important profession there is. And because that power resides in us, we have the ability to change what happens in this world, one classroom at a time, one student at a time. Okay, next slide, please. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is some people look at it as a talent, but actually it's professional skill. Being an educator, you don't have many resources, or to even get resources, they cost money. But emotional intelligence is free. It doesn't cost anything, but it can be very impactful in terms of student achievement and improvement. Power of a teacher, emotions, reactions that protect. I'm sorry, the internet kicked me out. Everybody, you can see me? Everything's okay? We're back on?
We can hear you, but we can't see you yet, but your slides are still showing.
Okay, but you can't see me. Okay. All right.
No, but we can hear you very well.
So I'll just continue. Okay. So emotion, like I mentioned before, emotional intelligence doesn't cost anything. So self-awareness simply means I know what I am feeling, what it looks like in the classroom. I notice when I am frustrated or tired before it affects my tone. Regulation. I manage my reactions. I pause instead of reacting quickly. Social awareness. I read the room. I recognize when students are confused, overwhelmed, or disengaged. And the fourth action, I choose my response intentionally. I redirect behavior, clarify instructions, or adjust pacing without escalating tension. So one of the internal tools that strengthen and protect teacher efficacy or teachers' belief in themselves is a teacher who is emotionally intelligent. Are there any questions before I continue regarding emotional intelligence? Are there any questions in the chat that I may need to answer at this moment, or we're good to continue?
I think you can continue. I can't see any questions in the chat.
Yeah, okay. And am I on camera again, or I'm still not seen?
Yes, we can see you and we can hear you.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now, same way I said emotional intelligence doesn't cost anything, right? This is another thing that doesn't cost anything. And that is how I've created 10 guides to teach powerfully. When you teach powerfully, these aspects, okay, are free. You don't need someone to give you a budget to purchase anything. These are things within your control that you can contribute to the cloud of courage to believe. Own your influence. I already mentioned that the power is within you. Own it. Believe it. Shift your mind. Don't put your mind from a point of view that it's a lack. Okay? That teachers struggle. We know we struggle. That's definite. No one could ever say we don't. But also know the impact that you have. Right? Lead with emotional regulation, meaning emotional intelligence, and teach the students in front of you. You are the only person that knows what the students in front of you need. The classroom down the hall has different needs from your students. If a teacher is doing something in their class that's working, and you try it out and it doesn't work for you, it's okay, because you have different students. So be mindful of the fact that you know what the students in front of you need, and you must adapt to that. The next section is confidence to achieve. Be clear and consistent. Children need clarity and consistency. That is how children are able to grow and learn. If today you say A and the A turns to B tomorrow, then tomorrow is C and D, that's confusion. That means the students have now seen you as someone they cannot rely on. So be clear and consistent in your optimize every minute. A lot of instructional time is lost with things that can be streamlined and done in a shorter period of time. And when you lose, you've lost 30 minutes of instruction. And 30 minutes of instruction that's lost can never be made up. So maximize every minute. Check for understanding constantly. Don't assume that because a student has not raised their hand to ask for help, that they understand the lesson. There are some students who never ask questions. So you don't know what they know or what they don't know. But you, as the teacher in the classroom, you have to constantly check for understanding. Use what you have strategically. Every teacher walks with their internal toolbox of skills and activities and resources that have served them well during the course of their teaching practice. Use them strategically to help you in the classroom. And the last area is hope to succeed. Build collective teacher efficacy, which we'll talk about later on in the presentation. Protect student dignity and teach with long-term impact in mind. As I mentioned, your impact is multiplied by the number of students in your class. Every day you walk into the classroom, teach with that in mind, knowing that you're impacting the lives of those students in front of you. And because of that, you don't have the ability to not do your best. You don't have the luxury of not doing your best because the students in front of you are relying on you. Their future relies on you. So always teach with long-term impact in mind. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to talk about what is ITE and why it matters. I created this framework based upon research. The research part we're going to talk about next. But I always believe in starting from ground level. I believe in individual teacher efficacy. That means the belief that I, as the teacher, can make a difference, even in hard conditions. My individual belief. Because if the teacher down the hall has her belief and I don't have any, her kids will do better than my kids. The fact that I don't believe in my own skill, there's no way my kids will succeed. Absolutely no way. Because the students in your class eventually become a mirror of who you are. And if you don't believe in yourself, how you have them believe in themselves? How are you going to have them believe in you? So why ITE matters? When teachers believe they can make an impact, students learn more, even with few resources. ITE when things are difficult or discouraging. It shifts your mindset from I'm stuck to I can try something. Because a teacher who has a high belief in themselves, knowing that things are difficult, will always find a way to push through. Because the future of the children in front of you are at stake. And we have to do the best for them regardless. And I know you can do it because you're a teacher. Teachers are superheroes. That's how I see it. We are superheroes. Don't let anyone tell you different. As a teacher, you are flying in the air, but you are a superhero regardless. Okay, next slide. Okay, so like I mentioned before, the most powerful resource is you. Who turns limited materials into meaningful learning? Who creates engagement even in a crowded classroom? Who builds belief in students when resources are scarce? Who does that? You. You are the one who does all of these things. Okay? So the power is within you. You are the most powerful resource in your classroom. More powerful than a textbook, more powerful than a computer, more powerful for whatever it is you have in your. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now I talked to you about what ITE is. But ITE is the first step towards CTE. We can grow together. We can't grow together unless we first believe in ourselves. So individual teacher efficacy is I can make a difference. But CTE, which means collective teacher efficacy, says we can make a difference together. So next slide, please. So we go from I believe to we believe. A researcher called John Hattie, who wrote many books on what he calls visible learning, did visible learning research, but in 2006 analysis, where you're analyzing, he analyzed over 1,200 various research done, and he collated the results, and it was proven that the highest predictor of student achievement was collective teacher efficacy. Okay? That means that teachers believe they can work together to make a difference in students' learning, even in difficult conditions. Why it matters. The biggest impact on student success is the shared belief and shared purpose, not just individual effort. Sharing ideas and supporting each other lifts all students, especially those who struggle most. And CTE drives school-wide change through teacher-to-teacher encouragement. Based upon John Hattie's research, it was theorized that the biggest indicator of student achievement is the collective teacher efficacy. That means that the teachers in school building collectively believe that they can make a difference. That was the biggest indicator or the biggest effect on student achievement. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so now we're going to go from ITE to CTE. So you are not alone. From I can't to we can. Share successes with each other. Share struggles with each other. Celebrate small steps. Ask for and share ideas. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So collective teacher efficacy is about going together because we want to go far. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I created something called a quadrant belief map. Previous slide. Yeah, right here. Okay, thank you. So the quadrant belief map is my visual belief. I can make interact to shape teacher efficacy and impact. Okay, so there's 4 aspects of the quadrant belief model. There is thriving together, strong but isolated, supported but doubting, exhausted and uncertain. So what I'm going to ask you to do, quadrant. So next presentation, please. Next slide, please. So this is a quadrant belief map. Now there's four sections. I want you, we're going to take some time to to unpack and analyze this. If your individual belief is low, and the overall belief in your school building is, you're going to have to determine which area you fall into, because we're going to take a poll. We're going to take a poll very soon. If your individual belief is low, then you are strong, but you feel isolated. Meaning that your belief is high, but in your school building, the belief is low, then you are strong, but you feel isolated. Now, if your belief is low, but the school belief is high, you are supported by the school, but you are doubting of your abilities. And if your belief is high and the school belief is high, which is the best scenario, then you are thriving together. So take the time, look at this map, and figure out where you fall into, which quadrant you fall into, and then we're going to take a poll. So please write that down. Write down where you are. I mean, you don't have to share with me. You can just, because you're going to take a poll, we have to put it down. So I'm going to give you 30 more seconds to figure out where you fall, and then we're going to take a poll. Next slide, please. Okay, so can you please put up the poll for them to take?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So the poll is going to be put up. So I'm going to repeat again. If your individual belief is low and the belief of your school is low, then you are exhausted and uncertain. If your individual belief is high, but the school belief is low, you are strong but isolated. If your individual belief is low, but the school belief is high, then you are supported but doubting. But if your belief is high and the school belief is high, then you are thriving together. So please, I would like everyone to take this poll so that we can see what the analysis, what the outcome is. Well, so far it looks like interesting. I want to see which one is what. 100% have answered. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, we have 179 participants. So we need all 179 participants to answer, please. Thank you. Oh, we have 180 participants. So we need everyone to please answer so that we can get our data correct. We'll give it like one more minute so that everyone will be able to answer. And this is an anonymous poll, so don't worry about somebody knowing what you wrote. Just please have a deep reflection of what's going on within your classroom and your school environment and answer accordingly. Please put your answer on the poll, not inside the chat. We want to see the percentages. %70% participated. Let's see if we can get 80% participation before we close the poll. I mean, I would like 100%, but if we can get 80, that'd be great.
Okay,
72%.
someone's saying they can't see the poll. But
Oh,
if you're using your phone, you may need to swipe to a different screen, sometimes depending on what device you're using. So the person that said they
okay.
can't see the poll, are you using your phone?
We have 77% participation. Let's see if we can get 80%, and then I'll close. %78%. We're almost there. Well, we had 80%. So those of you who are putting in your last minute entries, I'm going to be closing the poll in 10 seconds. We had 81%. Okay, I'm closing the poll. Okay, and these are the results. These are the final results. It says 45% of you say that you are thriving together. 41% of you say you are strong but isolated. 7% say that you are supported but doubting. And 7% say that you are exhausted and uncertain. Well, thank you for those of you who responded. Regardless of which quadrant you fall into, there's always room for improvement. Even those who are thriving together, there's always room for improvement. And those of you who are exhausted and uncertain, there is hope. So don't be deterred. Okay, so can we get back to the presentation? Okay, so next screen, please. Okay, based upon what you indicated, each quadrant has a solution and supports. So if you are exhausted and uncertain, you can focus on one student at a time, one small action, one daily reflection. That means take small steps. If you are strong but isolated, find an ally in the school. Share one strategy with them. Build a micro collaboration. Micro collaboration could just be you and another teacher, you and 2 more teachers, but you and another teacher is fine to gain support. Now, if your belief is low, but the school belief is high, that means supported, but you still doubt yourself, then, excuse me to say, borrow somebody's confidence. confidence in the sense that see what they're doing that's making it successful for them, and see how you can learn from them. Because even though we are in the profession of teaching students, we are also students ourselves. Because how we get better as a teacher is if we are also a learner. So you can learn from other teachers. Try one small win, let the team reinforce you. Let the team build you up. And for those of you who are thriving together, like I said, there's always room for improvement. Mentor the other teachers in your building who may not be as successful as you are. Share your experiences, right? But at the same time, don't overwhelm yourself. Protect your energy. Because sometimes when you overwhelm yourself, you realize that you start breaking down. Because the mental health and the physical health of a teacher is very important, right? So self-care for educators is crucial. Burn yourself out. It's difficult because as teachers, by a little bit of self-care as well. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so as I mentioned before, right, no matter where you are in the quadrant, right, no matter where you are, we all start at courage. Courage is what guides us to do what we do day to day. And underneath each section, it tells you basically what I just mentioned before. Each quadrant, no matter which quadrant you're in, courage is a starting point for everyone. Courage meets everyone where they are. Confidence is built through action. Confidence grows in motion when you're doing things. The more you do something, better you get at it. Hope sustains the journey. Hope keeps teachers in the profession. The fact that you go to school every day to teach, even though the day before was difficult, means that you are being hopeful. Hope is what keeps us going because we are looking at the children in front of us, and we know that if we lose hope, there's no way they can have hope themselves. Okay, next slide, please. So now we're going to unify pillars: courage, confidence, and hope. No matter where you located yourself, the pathway forward includes the same three anchors, which I mentioned before. Courage to believe is your professional belief that my actions influence student growth. Confidence to achieve, instructional power. I adjust my instruction and I offer clear routines based upon the needs of my students in front of me. I know I can make an improvement without waiting for more resources. I've seen classrooms where teachers have had the most resources and student achievement was that high. Okay? Don't let resources replace you. You are the indicator of student success, not the resources. So be very, very clear. I repeat again, I've seen classrooms where the teacher has the most resources and student achievement did not match the resources. And I've seen classrooms with not as much resources, yet student achievement was high. Okay? Because of the teacher in charge of the classroom. And in hope to succeed, sustained impact, you will focus on small wins. My mother always said Rome wasn't built in a day. Focus on small wins. Collaborate with others, and remember that your impact extends beyond one classroom. Okay? Where you are today, okay, may differ, but the pathway forward is shared. Next slide, please. Okay, there's something called the Peter effect, which has its roots in the Bible. And the Peter effect basically says that we cannot give what we do not have. I think something about gold or silver. I don't know the particular, the part of the Bible it came from. But that's what it says. We cannot give what we do not have. When teachers lack confidence, clarity, or belief in their impact, it limits what students receive. Okay? So if I doubt growth, students feel doubt. If I teach with hesitation, students learn with hesitation. If I believe in growth, students grow with confidence. Why this matters? Teachers fuels student belief. Teacher hope builds student hope. Okay? To grow students, we must grow teachers first. Okay? We must grow teachers first. You see how powerful we are? We must be grown first. Without our growth, there's no way we can grow others. So we cannot give what we do not have. That's why we all here learning professionally with each other. We want to grow ourselves so that when we go back into our respective classrooms and our respective schools, we go back with something more to share. Teachers are lifelong learners. We grow, we improve. Nothing can ever be, you can never be the teacher you were even 2 years ago. Every day you grow for the benefit of the students in front of you. Okay, next slide, please. So your power is real. Start with who you are. Start with what you have. Don't worry or stress too much about, I don't have enough resources. I've given you several tips that are free. And don't forget, you are the biggest and most important resource in the do it. Why? Because the power is within you. Next slide, please. So this is a little poem that I wrote, and I want everyone to, whether you want to close your eyes and listen to me read it, don't read it with me. Just listen and just visualize that I'm talking to you directly. So close your eyes, deep breathe while I recite the poem that I wrote. The Power Within by Jacqueline Ward-Brew. I may only have a board and chalk. I can teach with how I talk. My heart, my hands, my eyes that see hold all the power inside of me. Not enough books, the room is tight, but still I help my students write. With a song and a clap, they join in. Learning grows from deep within. I'll find the strength to lead us back. For I am more then tools and pros. So everybody should applaud themselves. Applaud yourselves. You are the teacher who stands proudly when learning calls. And that is why we do the work that we do, because we have that power within us to make and affect change. So I thank you for the claps. Our next slide, please. The next slide, please. Okay, so we're going to take a second poll. Now, when you registered for this session, you were asked certain questions. No, the previous slide. Yeah, this one. Okay, when you registered for this session, you were asked to answer certain questions. And one of the questions was, I believe I can positively influence. Forget about what you put down the first. Based upon this presentation that we just had, what's your current belief in your ability? So Seth, can you please put up the poll for number 3? And can you kindly complete this poll with the questions? The question: I believe I can positively influence my learners. Forget about what you put when you registered. I want you to tell me how you feel in this current moment after going through this presentation. We have 55%, 57% participated. Let's see if we can get 100% this time. You're going to answer this question based upon your current belief after this presentation. %74% participated. Let's see. Let's see if we can get 85% participation this time. We have 82%. Let's see if we can get 85, please. 85%. That would be great. %85, 86%. Let's see if we can get 90. 90%? 88. 2 more percent, please. 89, 90. Perfect. Thank you, guys. It's 90% participation. I'm going to, 91. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm going to end the poll in 10 seconds. %. Perfect. I'm close the poll. We're going to share the results. So basically, it says that 62% of you strongly agree that you can have a positive influence. 38% say you agree, and 1% said you're unsure. To me, I think those results are great because even those who are unsure, right? At least nobody disagreed. So that's a positive response. And I really appreciate you taking the poll and sharing your level of efficacy after being engaged in this session. So thank you for that. I'm going to close the poll out. And can we get back to the presentation? Okay, so now we're going to have a little bit of a reflection and a commitment. So we're going to reflect on these 3 areas. What belief about my impact needs to grow? This is for you to just internalize it, right? Where do I need more courage, confidence, or hope? How does my emotional presence shape my classroom? So I want you to think about that, but then also want you to make a commitment to yourself and to your students. One mindset shift I can practice this week, or I will practice this week, whatever that is. If you can write this down on a piece of paper, that'd be great. One mindset shift I will practice this week. One intentional action I will take tomorrow. One way I will strengthen belief in my colleagues. So this is something that I would like you guys to reflect on and commit to. I'll give you about 30 seconds just to look at the screen and internalize what you will be doing moving forward. Okay, I think we can go on to the next slide. So here, I want everyone to select one quote that you're going to hold on to. And the quotes are based on the 3 pillars. So if you focused on courage, your quote would be, I will model the belief I want my students to develop. If your quote is about confidence, it would be, I am the most powerful resource in my classroom. And if your quote is about hope, the way I teach today shapes the future beyond my classroom. So one of these is going to be your quote moving forward. Pick one. based up, and it's not a right answer or a wrong answer. Pick one quote that you are going to internalize so that when times are tough and you feel a little bit of a doubt, because it happens, this quote will sustain you. Okay? And then the next slide, please. Now I'm giving everybody homework or what I call a thinking job. I want you to think about this. Belief influences behavior. Behavior influences students. Students influence the future. Okay? And then the next slide, please. I want you to think about this. Courage is a choice. Confidence is built. Hope is practiced. And that require resources other than you being that resource. And then our last slide, as we conclude the presentation, the last slide, before we can open up for questions. Now, I was born in Ghana, but I left when I was very, very young. I've been in America for 54 years. So my tree is very bad. In fact, I don't speak to speak to adults. The adults say I should be arrested the way I speak to tree language. So I only speak to children. So please forgive me as I say this in tree. Say we ye papa, we ye mawoho. How well did I do? Did I do well? Did I do well? Let me know if I did well with that. No thumbs up. No. I did okay. I got some hearts up there. Okay. Say we ye papa, we ye mawoho. Yes, that's my tree for today. Some people are laughing. So basically it says, when you do good, you do it for yourself. So all those students in front of you in the classroom that you are doing good for, you're doing it for yourself eventually. Because I feel what you put out into the world is what comes back to you. That student in your class, one day will impact somebody that you will get the benefit. When you do good for yourself. So I want to thank you for this lovely presentation. I have the word there, midase or midawase. Thank you very much. I appreciate everyone from this presentation. And I want everyone to understand that us being here as a community of 186 participants, we have now, and we have a professional collective aged in the moment, professional collective, where in that moment, the power that is online with us will be one that we can carry out into our individual school buildings. So there is individual teacher efficacy, there's a collective teacher efficacy, and I have coined a new phrase, professional collective efficacy. Because when we come together and spend all of these almost 2 hours with each other, we're doing something great. So I want everyone to go out there and be powerful, or be more powerful than you already are. Be even more powerful. So if there's any questions, I can answer, and then we'll take it from there. So Mr. Matt, what does the chat say for us?
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Thank you very much for that powerful presentation. I myself have picked up quite a few tips. We do have time for questions. So please, you can either raise your hand and then I'll go through and call your name and you'll be able to unmute. And then also if you want to type your question in the chat, I'll also be looking in the chat to read the questions out for you. So I can see a hand raised. I think there may be a question from Moses. So Moses, do you have a question? Please, I think you can unmute and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have a question. Madam, thank you for your presentation. That was a very wonderful presentation. I am very, very blessed, very much blessed this evening. I would like to take you back a little bit to the EI, and I'm going to link that to your homework that you gave us. Sorry to take you back anyway.
No problem.
Okay. I'm also so happy, very happy that our presenter is a Ghanaian. So happy to know. I just want to know, when we come to the emotional intelligence, which has to do with understanding, managing emotions, which eventually will lead to decision making. When we look at our secondary schools today, some of our secondary schools today, we see student behavior where, excuse my language, some students see their colleagues like animals and feel like sometimes I can even just eliminate him or her, to the extent that sometimes they even do this to teachers. Where have we gone wrong? Is it the community? Is it the society? Or teachers? Upon all our power, how powerful we are not able to put them right? Where have we gone wrong? I don't know if this is related, but I want us to look at this as a community and see if we can do a little discussion here. Thank you.
Thank you for that very important question. It's not anything teachers have done wrong. I have been teaching here in America for over 11 years. I'm right now an administrator. And there's certain things that are beyond our control, right? So all of this, parents don't want to admit it, all of this stems from the house. How you choose to raise your child and how you want your child to walk outside in the world, right? It's a societal issue. It's not just in Ghana, it's all over the world. And people want to make it seem as if the teachers are wrong. No, no. When I get a child in my classroom, that student is, me and that student in that moment are strangers. I'm a stranger to them, they're a stranger to me. I can only impact that student in the 1 year I have that student. And that's where I would try to fix some of the problems that that student may be facing that is beyond the classroom, right? But prior to that child entering my class, I didn't know the student. So therefore, I am not responsible for what the student did before they came to my class. However, I'm responsible for impacting some level of change in that student. Even if the change is small, my responsibility is to have a positive impact on that student. It's not easy. It's not easy at all, but as an educator, I have that power to do that. And the starting point is building relationships. Students tend not to misbehave with teachers that they feel care about them. When you know someone cares about you and can break down that barrier, you in turn want to make them proud of you. You don't want to disappoint someone that you know cares about you. So it's difficult, especially when they're older, it's very, very difficult. But if anyone can do it, we the teachers can, even though the problem or the fault was not our making. we, I believe, are the solution. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. I hope that answered your question. We have another hand up here, Richard Taniel. You can unmute and ask your question, please. Richard, your hand is up. Did you want to ask a question? Richard Taniel. Okay, so let's go on to John. John Listowell, excuse me if I've got the name wrong. Your hand is up. Do you have a question you'd like to ask? Please unmute, John. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. And I want to say that I am very grateful for Ado for putting this workshop together for us. I'm also grateful for the presentation that tried to encourage us to do our best. I want to ask two questions. The first one is about you having in mind to impact, and with this eternally motivation for impacting to generations, you realize that indeed you need certain resources, you need certain infrastructure to be available, and the system actually do not provide it. But you know that if you should get it, it will really enhance the intention, or it will help you to deliver whatever you want to impact into your class or other generation or other people, but the resources are not there. If you become emotionally destabilized or frustrated, are you not, will somebody say that you have cause the frustration on yourself, that you could have exercised some little patience? Or would it be that you are too passionate? That is the first question. Then the second, I want to find out, as usual, if we'll get some certificates for participating in this program. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for that question. Teaching is not easy. In fact, there's a difference between being a teacher and being an educator. If your goal is just to give your children facts, then you're a teacher. If you want to impart knowledge, then you're an educator. And imparting knowledge means working with the heart first and then the mind. Once you capture the heart, the mind follows. It's not easy. And when you're looking at it like, well, I only have this child for 1 year. What change can I make? Even a small change is a change. If you're relying on outsiders to give the resources that you need in the class, then you're doing injustice to your students and to yourselves, because you should not wait for external to activate internal. I've seen classes where teachers have the best resources, the best, and the children are not learning. That's why I say the most important resource is the teacher. If you have to collect bottle caps because the school won't buy you counting materials, then collect bottle caps. I mean, I'm saying this because of what I have been through. My school does not give us budgets. We have all the resources that we need in my classroom. We have everything. But at the end of the day, how I even use it makes a difference. If I don't use the resources correctly, then they're there for decoration. All right? So at the end of the day, whether you don't have enough resources or you even have too many resources, how you, the teacher, utilizes it, your frame of mind. And don't let, oh, I don't have resources, so I can't teach. No, you can still teach. You can still teach, regardless of the resources. There's some classrooms that have a laptop for every student. There's some classrooms don't even have a laptop for the building. I cannot look at that and say, oh, the one with the laptop are learning. I can't make that statement. Because then what you're telling me then is the power is in the materials and not in the human being. I'm not saying resources are not good at all. They're good, they're great. But they don't make it beyond heart. When it comes to heart and mind, is the human being connection. And yes, you get overwhelmed because you're too passionate, but that's how we are. We are educators. Passionate about learning and teaching our students is what we are about. This is what it means to be an educator. So that type of being passionate, you can't remove that from your personality. That's what makes you an educator. And from what you're saying, right, you are a very passionate educator. And those are the best ones. Because they, at the end of the day, teach the students the basics, how to critically think, how to go out into the world and comport themselves effectively, how to communicate, how to respect. That is what education is really about. Who wants to learn from someone who doesn't respect themselves? And that you've seen people go out into the world best educated, no character. They weren't taught character. One that can deal with the heart and mind ends up being, to me, in terms of humankind, is the best person. I mean, you may disagree or not, I don't know, but this is my personal belief. And the school that I want to build one day in Ghana is going to be based upon that. Courage, confidence, and hope. Instilling the qualities that every human being should have. That is the goal at the end of the day. At the end of the day, that's the goal. But that's my personal belief. So I hope I was able to answer your question somehow for you.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I think there was also a question about certificates for those who have participated in the session this evening. So ADO will provide you with a certificate, but you'll need to complete the feedback form that will be put in the chat before the session ends, because we are really dependent on getting your honest and concise feedback about how the sessions are going and what you would like us to do in the future. So once you've filled in the feedback form and also pay a small administrative fee of 30 cedis, ADO will be able to provide you with a certificate. It will be a digital certificate. So that was just to answer the second part of the question. I know there are still some hands up, but I wanted to read one of the questions that came in the chat. So Abraham had said, as a researcher student, how do I build confidence in my learners who are not responding to every effort made?
Well, thank you for that question or that comment. I created a framework called Individualized Culturally Responsive Teaching. In fact, I did a presentation at Ghana ASCD last year in July when I was in Ghana. And I always start from building relationships. When you know your individual students, you know what they like, how they learn, what they like to learn about, that is the entry point. So even if a student may seem distant or non-responsive, get to know them. Get to know what they like. I had a student in class who I had difficulty reaching her. One day she brought in a ball of yarn and knitting needles. The way she could knit, I wish I could knit like her. I found an entry point. You like knitting? Okay, bring your needles and your yarn. You do your work correctly. I'll let you knit for a few minutes. That, the student changed in the class. Okay, the entry point was I found what she loved to do and I incorporated it into her lesson. So she knew if she wanted to knit for a few minutes, the assignment that I gave her, not only did she have to do it, she had to do it correctly. So building relationships with your students and getting to know them as individuals goes a long way.
Thank you very much. I think that answers the question very well. Let me take Idrisu. Your hand is up. Idrisu Abdullahi, can you unmute and ask your question?
Hello, good evening. Can I be heard, please?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. The questions I wanted to ask, one has been answered already. But my other question is on the certificate issue. Somewhere last year we had this same training, and then we were giving certificates, but the points that were supposed to be given to us to help us build our professional licenses, I didn't receive my. I don't know whether it's with all participants or I am the only person. So I would like to find out whether this one too is the same thing. Because we are asked to provide our NTC emails and the numbers. We filled the forms, but I didn't get mine. So that's the other question that I want to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please, I'll address that one. I'll take some information from Rosalind and get back to you on that one, please. If you can, questions going forward, if we stick to our questions on the session for now, but I will definitely get back to you on the previous training. I think you might need to send an email with the details of the training that you did, and then we'll be able to follow up with that, please. Thank you. Please, Richard, I know your hand was up previously. Can you unmute now? Richard, can you unmute? You should be able to unmute now.
Yeah,
Please ask your question. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, please. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, so thank you for the presentation. I joined the class late, but from where I started, I think I've gained a lot than if I had not joined. The question I want to ask is about the quadrant that she divided into four, where she spoke about strong but isolated, that the teacher may have positivity, the teacher have hope, the teacher is confidence and then courage. But the school's environment is not aiding the teacher. In that instances, what should the teacher do? That the teacher is having confidence, is having hope, is having courage, the teacher is willing and have the capacity to deliver. But the environment the teacher found himself or herself is not aiding the teacher to do all those things that positively he's supposed to have done. In that instances, what should be the famous thing that the teacher should do so that all those hope, the confidence, and the courage the teacher has built in himself or herself will not be lost? Thank you for listening.
Okay, so you mentioned, you said strong but isolated, which means that your belief is high, but the belief of your school is low. Is that correct? Okay, well, I'll answer it based upon my understanding. So if you're saying that you're strong but isolated, the three main things that you can do is find an ally in the school. Find someone that you can connect with, right? Share one strategy with them that has helped you so you can impact them, right? And then work with them one-on-one, because if your personal belief is high, right, then you can spread that belief out to members of your school community, explaining to them that when you gather together, right, that impacts student achievement more than individual teacher belief. So since you already have that strong belief in yourself, you be the change maker in your school building. Start small with one teacher, and that one teacher will affect another teacher. Remember, teaching is exponential. Your impact is exponential. no matter how small. Always start small, because sometimes when you look at the big picture, it becomes overwhelming. Partner with one teacher and start from there. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you again, Jacqueline. I want to read another question from the chat before I go back to the hands that are up. So Gideon asked, what is the place of the home, family to be precise, in the effort to achieve this impact we have spoken about?
Well, incorporating the family in the school community is very important, because parents have to understand that they are their child's first educator or first teacher, right? You cannot put all the responsibility on the school or the teacher. The teachers can only start from where you left off, or what the teacher can only start or use what you've given them, and that is your child, right? If your child comes to school and doesn't know how to do basic things, or doesn't even show good behavior in the classroom, or doesn't have any desire to learn, that comes from the house. But I know parents want the best for their children. So if a parent does not have the skill set to help with their child, then the school community must embrace that and have sessions for parents. The same way we have sessions here for teachers, where I'm telling you the power is within you. Parents need to understand they have power within them also to affect change in their children. So parents must be brought into the school community, given training, letting them know that as a partnership is how students succeed. Because research does show that if the parents' belief in their child is high and the school is not that wonderful, so to speak, the child will still succeed, because the parents have that impact. That is their child. So please, whenever you're having that, family engagement is very important for student success. Very, very important. So I always encourage schools to always reach out and talk with the parents in the community, have lectures, something small, even 15-20 minutes at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, every parent wants the best for their child, just that not all parents know how to get to that. And it's us as teachers to help the parents along.
Very true. Thank you very much. So we have quite a few hands up and still questions in the chat. So I would ask kindly that when you have the opportunity to ask a question, please keep it to one question, so that as many people who have got their hands up or have written a question in the chat have an opportunity to have their question answered. Thank you. So Francis, please, your hand is up. Please go ahead and unmute and ask your question. So Francis. Okay, Francis, if you can put your hand. Okay, so let me move on to the next person, Shepherd. Shepherd, your hand is up. Please go ahead, unmute and ask your question.
All right, good evening, everyone. And thank you so much for this wonderful presentation, and keep educating us on how to impact our young ones. Now, my question is, what provision is made in training regarding emotional intelligence? What provision is made in the curriculum regarding emotional intelligence in training coming to the classroom? And the second one, what should be done when he or she is emotional?
Sorry, I can't hear your question. All I heard was what provisions, but I can't hear the rest of your question. Is it possible for you to put in the chat?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
please. Please put it in the chat, and then I'll read it out once it's entered. So in the meantime, let me go on to Mary. Mary, your hand is up. Mary Frimpong, please unmute and ask your question. Mary? Okay, I can't see Mary's. Let me read a question from the chat. Okay. Right, while I'm picking a question from the chat, Abraham, can you unmute? Abraham Bar, can you unmute and ask your question? Great. Please, can you speak very clearly into the microphone? I'm struggling to hear you, and I'm sure, Jacqueline, you can't hear her very well.
My question has to do with the mental and the physical health of the teacher or the educator. And as a police teacher, what can I do to help the teacher who is going through mental health?
Sorry, let me pause you there. Jacqueline, can you hear her?
No, I cannot. Unfortunately, I cannot hear her.
No, I also can't hear. So unless you can speak clearer into the mic, please also type your question, because I'm struggling to hear what you're saying, please. So I'm going to take the next two people who have their hands up before I move to those questions in the chat. And then I think we might have to check the time on questions. So Ephraim Corte, your hand is up.
Hello? I guess I can be heard.
Yes, great. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. So my question has already been answered, but I would like to find out if we can get a slide, probably in the chat, can download it. If it can be sent or mailed to us, it will be better.
Yes, please. So the recording will be shared at the end of the session.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Effia, your hand is up. You can unmute and ask your question. Please unmute and ask your question.
Okay, perfect. Hello, everyone. I'm speaking from Canada, but I just would like to know how, since you, Jacqueline, have moved into the administrative section of education, how can we, as Ghanaians, collaborate with public administrators and private administrators, maybe like 3 to 5 tips on how we can build that in order to enhance the school mental health and the community engagement and the family engagement. So just 1 or 3 tips, because I know there are administrators on here, there are principals probably on here. Those that don't work on the floor would also like to know the collaboration piece in terms of building those multi-actual relationships and organizational relationships. So just 1 to 5 points. On behalf of
thank you for that question. I left the classroom 5 years ago, so I still have my teacher armor on. You know, I'm living in both worlds, and the teachers appreciate that, because when you go into administration, you tend to forget what it was like to be a teacher, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not that you don't care, but your objectives are different, right? So that makes the dynamics difficult to deal with. But I would tell my fellow administrators that teacher efficacy, trusting your teachers, training your teachers, making sure that they feel seen and heard in the building, that that they are not just an educator or teacher in the classroom, they are also somebody's mother, father, sister, brother. The totality of the teacher is very important, because the teacher doesn't feel mentally safe and secure and seen in the classroom, morale is going to go down, right? Something as simple as celebrating birthdays, knowing your teacher's birthdays and celebrating it on a monthly basis boosts to teacher morale. Teacher morale is crucial because if we as administrators don't show up at work, right, learning will still take place because the teachers are there. So they are an important part of our school building, and they must be treated with firmness, but at the same time kindness, right? So the same way you want the teachers to listen to the students, we as administrators must understand our teachers. And the most impactful is teacher training. Trainings like this, if you hear about it, send your teachers to them. Morale building exercises, giving teachers time to collaborate with each other. Those are very, very important. And then also visit other schools to see what they're doing. Talk to other administrators to see what they're doing. That's something that I want to do eventually in Ghana, is that leadership is difficult because you're holding things in two hands. Or as they say in Ghana, they say, you don't look at a bottle with two eyes. But as an administrator, that's what we do, right? We have to look into the bottle with both eyes. And what does that do? It gives you a headache. But we take the time and we look at it one eye at a time. The teacher in one hand, the school building in the other. At the end of the day, whatever is best for the students is what wins. It always has to remain paramount. The needs of the students is what ends up having to be the deciding factor. So I hope I've answered your question the best that I can.
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, please permit me, before I take two more questions that were in the chat, I wanted to respond to the gentleman's question about not receiving a certificate for a previous training. So I've got feedback directly. So clarification, I just want to read it out so we're all on the same page. So clarification on certificate issuance. So all participants have received the certificates issued directly by the Africa Dyslexia Organization through our official platform. Now, this includes all certificates under our mandate, as well as the NESTI certificates where applicable. Now, the only outstanding certificates are the CPD certificates from the National Teaching Council, NTC. Now, these are not issued or controlled by Africa Dyslexia Organization. They are being facilitated by the Ghana Commission for UNESCO in collaboration with NTC. So participants have been informed periodically that due to changes in government and administrative transitions, there have been delays at the NTC level. So the Commission has assured us that the points are being processed and will be released once final administrative procedures are completed. All required participant details have already been submitted to NTC. At no point has the organisation collected funds or failed to deliver certificates within our control. All deliverables under ADO's responsibility have been fulfilled. So if any participant has concerns, they are expected to contact the organisation directly through official communication channels, rather than raising the matter publicly here. I hope that answers the question that the gentleman had. So thank you for that. All right, so I'm just checking the time. We probably have time for another 2 questions that were in the chat and maybe one more person who has their hand up. So Abraham, who was trying to unmute, has typed his question and he said, how can I help my colleague educators and teachers who are going through mental and physical problems? So it's a bit vague because we're not sure about what specific mental or physical problems they're going through, but maybe you can generally answer the question.
When I was a classroom teacher, I was the lead teacher for the grade. So everybody in my grade knew they could come to me to discuss whatever it is that they had to discuss. And Certain things were off the record and on the record and all of that. But sometimes when a teacher feels stressed or burned out, it's because they want someone to just listen. So be a listening ear. Show sympathy, understanding, and where you can support them, right? Because sometimes when you want just to be heard, that alone is very, very helpful. And let them know that what they're experiencing is not that something is wrong with them. Because teaching as a profession is difficult. It is very, very difficult. And that's why collective teacher efficacy, building that relationship with the community within your school is very, very important. It's very important. Somebody remembering your birthday and wishing you happy birthday can change your mindset in that moment. So support each other and look out for each other and just be there as a listening ear. Yes.
Very great response. Let's be a listening ear for our colleagues. You spoke previously about mentoring. If you're, feeling highly adequate in your quadrant, then mentor others, support them, and that includes being a listening ear. So thank you for that. There's another question here in the chat. So 1 minute. So the question is from Francis, and it says, please, what should the head teacher do to teachers in a school who think they know their job, but learners are still struggling with learning, but keep blaming the parents for not helping their wards to learn at home?
Good question. Very, very good question. When I evaluate teachers, using our evaluation tool, we don't evaluate teacher effort, right? We evaluate teacher outcome, right? You can put in all the effort in the world. If your outcome doesn't match your effort, they need to change where you're putting your effort. So the teachers who think they know everything, right? And the students are still struggling, clearly they don't know everything. Because if you knew everything, the students wouldn't struggle. A distinguished teacher, outcome matches. If I know everything, my students know everything too, because they are a reflection of me. If my students are struggling, then go back and look in the mirror and see what changes you can make. Those two have to go hand in hand. They cannot be opposite. If they're opposite, something is going wrong there. So I hope that answered that question.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. There are more questions that were in the chat, but we are quite pressed for time now. And I think we should thank you so much for giving us this time this evening. I just wanted to reiterate something from this afternoon. Just give me 1 moment. So please take note, I have shared the link to the feedback form in the chat. And I did say it earlier, but let me say it again. These monthly trainings, you're getting world-class facilitators like Jacqueline, and there is no fee. All we are asking is that you give us your full and honest feedback so we can see what is working, what we can do differently, and really plan sessions that are going to be impactful for you. It doesn't take long. Please click on the link and ensure that you complete the feedback form fully. Someone asked earlier whether there'll be a certificate for participation. And what we're doing is we're now linking that to the feedback form. So once you've completed the feedback form and paid the 30 cities administrative fee, then you'll get a certificate of participation. We'd really appreciate you take that time to please fill in the feedback forms. So thank you again, Jacqueline, for a really outstanding and insightful session. I myself are going to go away with lots of questions and learning points. Thank you so much to Martin and Josiah for the sign language interpretation and ensuring that this session was an inclusive session. So thank you very, very much for that. I just wanted to reinforce ADO's position, and It is that we are strengthening teacher capacity. It is central to improving inclusive education outcomes across Africa. Teacher efficacy is built intentionally through practice, through collaboration and system support. And we are here to consult for you to build your education capacity. So what are the next steps? So like I said, the feedback form has been shared in the chat. Please do fill it in and provide detailed feedback for us. The resources and the recordings will be circulated after the session. And just to let you know, these are monthly sessions. So we're having our next monthly session, which will focus on understanding dyscalculia. And that will be on Monday, the 23rd of March. So please do follow us on all our platforms. They will be posted for you, and please stay informed as to when you can register for the next session. I'd like to say once again, thank you so much, Jacqueline, for a very insightful session. Thank you to our to our sign language interpreters, and thank you very much to all the participants who've had some really wonderful questions, who have been interactive, and I hope you're able to take away some great learning points from this evening's session. Let's give a round of applause, some thank you emojis to Jacqueline and to our sign language interpreters. Thank you once again, and please do look out for next month's ADO training online. Thank you and have a good evening.
Yes, thank you very much. I had a wonderful time. I've learned a lot from everyone, and I appreciate everyone's time and attendance. And as a collective, we can make a change. Go out there and be powerful. Every one of you, continue to be powerful.
Indeed. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so just before we log off, Miss Jacqueline, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think there was one hand that was up that's just been brought to my attention. If he can unmute and we can quickly answer his question. Is Ali, is it Rachidi? Ali, your hand is up. Can you unmute? I think your hand has been up for some time, so
Oh, okay.
Ali, are you able
Hello?
to unmute, please? Great.
Yep. Can you
All
hear
right.
me?
Yes, I can hear you. So please go ahead.
All right, thank you so much. Just a quick question. I really love the three sentences. If a teacher, if I teach with hesitation, students learn with hesitation. If I believe in grow, students grow with a confidence. So my question is there any way that's a school, how can a school assess teachers? How can a school find out that the teachers are teaching with a confident or with hesitation? Yes, so this is the really, so that's my question.
Well, as an administrator, classroom visits, observations are very important. Facilitating PLCs with your teachers, getting their mindset, giving them the training that that is necessary, because how your teachers operate is based upon the culture and the values of the school. So if you value teacher confidence and the teachers don't have it, find a way to instill it in them, right? And that is like you were on this presentation. You can now go back to your school and turnkey the information and affect some level of change. But let the teachers know what the expectations are for your building, and which of course is the expectation you want for the children, because you can't do what you don't know is expected of you. So clarity is important. Clarity and constant communication with the teachers. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for taking that extra minute to answer that question. We really appreciate the time you've spent with all of us this evening. So once again, thank you to our participants. Thank you to our wonderful sign language interpreters. And we hope to see many, many more of you online for next month's session. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Bye-bye.